You're now listening to the Open Africa podcast with Laolu, Nosa, and Furo. On this
On
episode,
this episode.
what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I thought you were not going to say it because I was waiting.
I was giving you your three
But yeah, let me keep
seconds
quiet.
now.
Let me keep quiet. Sorry.
On this episode of the podcast, we will be discussing general news headlines with some fundraising activity in Egypt, Rwanda, SA, and also we'll come back to Nigeria with all the chaos around the new requirements for Nigerian BDCs, BlackCopper, and I think there's some news about Flutterwave as well. So, without wasting time, we can just jump right into it. I believe you can start with the headlines, right? Are we aligned?
Yes, we're aligned.
Great, fantastic. All right. So first things first, Google announced plans to build Umoja, the first fibre-optic route directly connecting Africa and Australia to enhance internet connectivity and digital infrastructure. Any thoughts, comments, or just take it as read and we're fine?
Take it as
I'm
read.
sorry.
I know.
Just take it as it has big committee
Sorry, I'm
energy.
going back to my committee meeting.
So we'll take the minutes as read. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take it. Okay, let me just move on to the next bit. Okay, so I find this one in particular interesting. Kasha, an e-commerce startup. I don't know if I can call it startup because they raised $21 million Series B funding. So a Rwandan e-commerce startup is what they're claiming to be. Startup with $21 million. Is they essentially focus on women's health and wellness. And yeah, work within East, South, and West Africa. Um, yeah, I think it's very fascinating that building a product purely focused for women, she was able to raise $21 million in her Series B.
Series B.
It was founded in 2016. Yeah, so that's interesting. Moving on.
Sorry, what's the core proposition again? I'm just curious here.
It's literally like Jumia, but then only selling women's products.
Huh. Fascinating.
Yes, very fascinating. And then we move on to, well, this is not necessarily it was clean tech. So a Congolese clean tech startup, Nuru, raised $40 million to construct the largest solar mini grid in sub-Saharan Africa.
Same question I asked before we started.
Mm.
Is this equity or is it debt?
One
Because
second.
it sounds
Well,
a lot
Nuru
like
sounds like
you,
debt.
you raise like
Yeah, let
better.
me see.
I mean, even
Yeah.
for debt, it's still a sizable
Yeah,
amount.
so it says Series B funding. But it doesn't, like, behind the scenes, the things that the companies never really reveal whether it's debt or equity, right? They just say they've raised $21 million or they've raised $40 million. So it's the founders that will know whether it's debt or equity most of the times. I can't see anything that indicates which it is right now. Okay, Orca. Now I think this is really early stage. This is what I'll call a startup actually. Orca, a South African startup that actually started in January this year, raised 550,000 euros in pre-seed funding. Orca is essentially building capabilities to combat fraud in emerging markets, leveraging AI.
That leveraging AI is what is
Mm-hmm.
the cocoa here.
So very interesting. Orca was
Hmm.
founded by two ladies, um, and funding was actually led by Norscan. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So yeah, the two ladies who founded the company. Yeah, I think it's timely. It'll be interesting to see what the attraction is, but considering the madness in Nigeria right now with CBN and the fintechs and banks and general the general evolution of fraud, the fraud vectors we're seeing on the continent, it will be interesting to see how their journey unfolds because it's still pretty early days. And like, mhm.
Can I just say that on this fraud thing, I'm surprised that it took this long for people to
It's
really turn their
because
eye on like solving fraud. I know there have been some attempts for credit, like credit fraud, debtors and all of that. But given the volume of fraud that happens every year in Nigeria alone, now that it seems like there are a couple more people like actively looking at that space. But I just want to
mm,
say that I've been saying it for like 2 years now that we need a fraud registry that can only ever successfully defraud somebody once. Like once your name enters that registry, every serious financial service provider, whether bank, neobank, or just your regular fintechs, everybody should have your information and immediately desist you. I think that the
Isn't that what BV and Blacklist is supposed to be?
yeah, but it's not accessible now. It's not accessible to and hey, bro has dropped off. I was saying that BVN blacklist is not like generally accessible, and that leads to a more fundamental conversation over unlicensed financial service providers because for the most part if you're
Oh
licensed.
God, have I told you guys how I'm going to start snitching? Yes, as soon as you just mentioned that thing, it just came to my mind. I'm going to start snitching on people that are unlicensed. Add that to my list of things.
No further comments, but yeah, and a lot of the fraud that not like so for the fraud that happens, it's not only the licensed companies, you know, that that have this problem. Everybody else, even the people that don't require a license, are getting hit. So guys doing random services, maybe like credits, or maybe you're processing payroll or something. So we're all victims of this thing. And honestly, I feel like you should be the goal for combating fraud should be to financially exclude these people from the industry, from accessing services from the industry. That's my own hot take. It might be is it highfalutin that they call it, but that's my passion right
E-
now
My,
to
my
financially exclude fraudsters.
my passion right now is to financially to exclude unlicensed entities from the industry. That's my passion. That's what gets me going. Given my current circumstances, in fact, I'm going to be snitching and reporting anybody that doesn't have a license that is offering financial services. CBN should just create a mailbox for me that I'll just be emailing them. As soon as you launch, I'll email CBN. Please check these people out. They're operating without a license.
Nosa, we are
Um,
sorry.
I've decided that rules must be strict for everyone, all participants. Nobody going through corner. Nobody. No. I'm sure this is how Shegun Abaji felt at Bankers Committee when all these fintechs started coming. Yes, I'm aligned. I'm aligned. We have to protect
Sorry.
the sanctity of our ecosystem.
We are very sorry. May I have license, Sha? So, but on behalf of you that don't have license, sorry.
because a lot of the criminality is carried out by people
Mm.
without license, and everybody gets punished as a result.
But to be fair, Nosa, your so-called punishment is literally just a standard that has existed for the big banks,
That's
and you have become a
that is exactly that's what I'm saying. I want to enforce it for everybody. Everybody must be enforced. I don't understand
sir.
why you're
You
taking
are a big
deposits and
bank.
using virtual. No, if you are taking deposits and using virtual accounts, that is not right. That's not right because you are ruining virtual accounts for everybody. So
Imagine
I'm
if
going to
banks were
snitch.
saying this for how you onboard. Like they are forced to bring people
Even
into the
even
branch.
even I now me I'm aligned. Anyway, we'll discuss it in the address verification section of this podcast. But even I am aligned with the big banks. We are going to be strict. We are going to keep everybody has to operate so that there's sanity in the ecosystem. People can't just be running wild.
Oh
And that's
God.
what people have been doing. They've been running wild. I mean, we've
No,
had
sir, just
issues
wait
now.
and
We've
resume in
had issues.
Abuja or
We've had
Lagos.
issues. Look at brass now. Imagine if those brass customers were not made whole and brass could not transfer. Who that brass customers go and cry to? That's not a registered entity. It's not recognized by the regulator. Their
Did they not?
deposits,
Don't they have MFB license?
if they have MFB license, then they should be trading under the MFB license. As far as I know, you are transferring to a Paystack Titan account. That is not the MFB license.
Jesus Christ.
Well, are they pushing their information to iCard? I don't know. So as you're talking of this fraud thing, these guys are creating accounts for people using ghosts and shadow whatever. They are shadow banks, and they are creating accounts for people with virtual accounts. Now, when those
Musa has
virtual
clearly
accounts,
spent
wait now,
time with CBN people.
when those virtual accounts commit fraud, eh, they will not be pushed to that central database that we want to manage because these virtual accounts are not seen as accounts belonging to a particular person. They're just disposable.
Now, so all the accounts they've been using as conduits to exit and call. Are they not bank accounts? Also, no, Nosa has been kicked out. I don't know what's going on.
What's wrong with
Why
Furo?
did
What's wrong
what's
with
going
Furo's
on?
internet today? Furo,
You two, you dropped off now.
mine was that somebody called me. Let,
Oh God.
let me even put on do not disturb. Furo, what's your own excuse?
My excuse is I'm in Africa. South Africa to be precise. It's not only Nigeria that has problems. Musa, good luck to you and your snitching as a service product. Fully run and manned by
Somebody that
yourself.
when we catch him, we will
Yours
break
truly.
his leg.
There has to be sanctity. There has to be sanctity in our ecosystem. I don't think you guys understand that these guys are killing us. They are killing us.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry.
And then I guess the last bit
please
of
let's go to the
news.
next topic.
Yes, the last bit of news. So I think I spent a lot of time on news. Is somebody somewhere. I can't find the article anymore, so maybe I should even talk about it. Somebody said that Moneypoint is the fastest growing African fintech, but I can't find it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It's one of those, is that Fast Company or Business Insider, one of
Mm.
those things. Anyway, all those things are self-reporting.
If you don't sell yourself, who will sell you now?
So by
I don't
self-reporting,
understand.
I mean, if you don't sell yourself, who will sell you? But it's not a all-encompassing kidney, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's like when all the banks used to win Digital
From
Bank of
different
the Year at the same
bodies.
time from different bodies. You hear Unity as we are pleased to announce we have been Kinikon Digital Bank of the Year. Stanbic will announce their own. Another GTB will announce their own. It's okay. It's okay. You have heard. I mean, this is not to say Money Point is not growing. They are growing, but at the same time, it's a it's neither here nor there. That's what I want to say because essentially you are submitting your data to them and saying it's not as if they are coming to audit you and
Mm.
auditing everybody and saying, okay, this person is the fastest growing. And there's also what's it called? There's no there's no incentive from the organizer. It's not like what's it called? Like it's very different from the The Y Combinator one is also self-reporting,
Mm.
but the difference is that Y Combinator, their incentive is to show that all their companies are doing well. So if you're a company that's not Y Combinator, not doing well, it is not in their favor to put you out there like that. But these guys don't really have skin in your game. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Shout out to Money Point. All the best to them.
Okay, so now let's get into the other bits that we want to discuss. Central Bank of Nigeria recently released new requirements for Bureau de Change, BDCs in Nigeria. They have increased. So, let me just give the highlights. So, capital requirements for BDCs has gone up from 35 million naira for general BDCs to 500 million for tier 2 BDCs. Tier 2 BDCs can only operate in one state or the FCT with a maximum of 3 locations. And then for tier 1 BDCs, the minimum capital base is now 2 billion. I repeat, 2 billion naira. And they can operate nationwide and open franchises across the country. They've also clearly stated that BDCs are not allowed to deal in crypto assets, cannot carry out outward international transfers or receive international inward transfers, and they are prohibited from engaging in futures, options, and derivatives trading.
And street trading. And
Mm.
street trading. Those Echo Hotel
I don't
BDC
think they've
guys are
ever been
illegal.
legal. Exactly.
I mean, they've always been illegal, but they are very illegal now. Just for all to be aware.
Yes. So that is very interesting. I think the jump is much. 'Cause,
Because they want serious people to be part of it. And
It's not enough.
I think it's also good
It's,
now they said that even if you have existing license, you don't have it again. Everybody start from scratch. Bring your money.
yes, yes, and it's not enough because, as far as I'm concerned, we must protect the sanctity of our FX markets. We cannot have errant BDC operators constituting a
why
nuisance
are you
and
sounding like Murphy?
participating
Please, can you
in
stop? Even
currency.
the tone of your voice.
If you want to fight me, Furo, come outside.
I,
Come outside. Let's
okay,
fight.
I've never more supported regulators than now in my life. There are people that are spoiling this ecosystem for everybody, and they must be fished out.
Yes, as Nosa cares about people doing virtual account banking, God will judge him. I
Mel,
care about the
Mel
people
also
wrecking
care.
our FX
I also care about people
markets.
working at FX. There are too many BDCs. It doesn't make any sense. Let everybody start from the
I agree.
beginning. They're giving out the
Yes,
license anyhow.
pack
So let
everybody.
everybody start from the beginning. Pack everybody. Because I'm sure I
No
think at
more
first they were like
Barcelona
at first
BDC.
at first they were like, okay, let it be new BDCs that will be aligned with this new regime. But I'm sure they looked at it and was like, oh, these people are serious. Let's just shut everybody down and come back and apply. The next
Oh
group
man,
that I think I suspect will do that thing for is microfinance banks.
Omo, that one go off small, low key.
There are too many microfinance banks. There are over like 900.
I think what no, so they don't need to do anything special for microfinance banks. Many of them have capitalization issues. They recently issued a deadline for recapitalization. It just didn't, I don't think it made the news, but many of them had to sell. They'll probably just need to do something like that again. Maybe take unit here to 150 million or something, and then you have to go and find 100 million naira in additional capital or something funny like that. But they don't need to shut it down. Fundamentally, the concept of microfinance bank, contrary to what my fintech bros think, is actually to support
A community
financial
inclusion.
yes, it's community banking in typically underserved areas, if
I was
not
at
remote.
I was at one CBN thing, and the guy said they said microfinance banks are for financial inclusion. They'll do 3-tier KYC, allow people open accounts with a phone number, etc, etc. Then all the accounts that were opened were in Lagos. Please proceed.
So you see, as far as me I'm concerned, as part of bringing sanity and maintaining the sanctity of our microfinance banking
Don't kill
ecosystem,
me.
if you have 500,000 customers and more, you are no longer microfinance bank. Go and get regional bank license. That's number one. Number two, if you collected microfinance bank license and you have customers all over the country and you don't have national microfinance bank license, you must go and collect regional banking license. We must uphold sanity and sanctity of our financial services market.
I mean,
That's my own agenda. Number two,
I mean,
if it touches you,
we are guilty, but I also agree. I also agree.
Oh God!
Things must change. Things must change. That's
The
just what
problem
it
is that this thing they go round. The one that will touch you, will touch you.
These things must change. Anyway, Furo, you're going to say something.
No, I was going to say that you can always
Oh
argue that you
God!
guys are your how do I put it? Say you're dealing with
Hmm?
underserved population, right? You underserved individuals. Well, technically, people that can get on a Kuda or any other one and get access to quick loans and all of that, they were underserved by the existing financial
Hmm?
services infrastructure. Here,
Hmm?
yes,
Excuse
yes.
me.
So,
Excuse me. I
so
need
no,
you
no, no,
to
no.
refer to
They
the
are
I mean,
CBN
underbanked.
circular
what is
published
okay? What's the
as
definition of
amended in
underbanked? Let me quickly-
2021, I believe. I may be wrong. Don't quote me. One of the
They are
requirements of
not unbanked. Is underbanked.
Uh-huh.
hello,
That's my point.
there is a requirement in terms of your operations as a microfinance bank. Your core focus is to serve the community within which you are located, especially if you are operating with a tier 2 microfinance bank license. You are not even allowed to be in urban areas. So, therefore, if there are underserved people in Kano, they are not your problem. Let the microfinance bank in Kano serve the people in Kano. Please,
No, no, no. What's it called? Laolu,
quality and
Laolu.
sanctity of this ecosystem.
We're not disagreeing. We're saying the people that were underserved and underbanked, they are banked. They are just not banked enough. So they should be served by banks. Now, the people that need to be
That's
financially,
you are twisting the definition of underbank as far as the great central bank of Nigeria is concerned.
so the
This
people,
is not the definition of underbanked.
no, there's unbanked and there's underbanked.
Mm. The purpose for microfinance bank existing in rural areas is to serve unbanked and underbanked. And by underbanked,
The rural
mean
areas in
people.
the internet. Please, let's move on.
See, Furo, these are the issues. These are the issues. This is how you are contributing
Anyway,
to the
no, no,
chaos and mayhem that we are seeing in the ecosystem.
No comment.
no, no, but
God will
I
judge.
agree. We need to bring sanctity to this thing. Like, we need to bring serious
Please,
sanctity to
can
this
you?
thing. Because let's segue into our next one, BlackCopper.
Oh God, I have
BlackCopper,
seen. Oh God. No, sir, please go ahead. Because if
BlackCopper.
I start, I won't stop.
So BlackCopper, they've accumulated over £1 billion in debt. They were
Two,
doing this. Is it two? Okay,
2 billion.
2 billion. They were doing financial. They're doing what's it called? Digital lending, and they're lending to small businesses, individuals, etc., etc. Um, they disbursed about 67K loans, and they have only recovered about 200 million. Now, all of this is standard. To be fair,
That's why
losing
it's
money from
priced so
digital
high.
lending is standard. But the only thing that me exactly they price their defaults in. They just charge it to the game. The only thing that caught me about this article is that they said the founder said that he's the descendant of they say Lugard, that be someone that works for Lugard, and the guy was jump out to Canada. So those two things, those two things, is why we must restore sanctity to this ecosystem. Because I don't think these guys have a license.
Let me just let you people know that for licensed entities that lend, CBN licensed entities that lend, there is a prudential guideline for what your credit losses should be.
Exactly.
For banks, I think around 5%. If you have more than 5% of your loan portfolio as non-performing, you are violating one of the core principles guiding lending in this country as provided by the great and mighty Central Bank of Nigeria.
So let's look at it
Please
from
go
like
ahead.
even first principles. First principles is that when you're lending, but if you're a bank, you're lending from your balance sheet, like it's balance sheet lending. So if you are losing money at that rate, because the way it's supposed to be is that you lend with customers' funds, but if there's a loss, you have to chest it, give or take. I mean, that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. But give or take, if there's a loss, you eat the loss. But if you make money, you can keep the profits from lending with your customers' money. So there's like that's why all these like there are percentages of how much you can lend set to the point so that if there's actually you have plenty of bases in your book, it doesn't mean that you are eating your customer funds because the ability to lend is tied to your shareholder funds or something like that. Again, this is a very simplistic way of looking at it, but there's sound logic in the way banking lending is regulated. Now, with fintech lending, they don't have the same. They don't have this same. What's it called?
Sense.
They don't have the same. They don't have the same prudential guidelines. They are not, especially people that have financial, what they call Lagos lending license, state lending license. They don't have the same
Hmm.
guidelines. So essentially, what they are doing is they are borrowing money from Peter to lend to Paul. And that's what BlackCopper has entered inside. They borrowed money from investors to lend to customers. Now that the customers have not paid, the investors are out of money. Now, typically,
Oh
again,
God.
what normal people do, especially those Chinese loan sharks, is that they price in the risk. And they also don't disburse like that as much as they're pricing in the risk. Maybe the interest rate is like 100, maybe 200% because they're hoping
Nosa.
that they'll make money.
Nosa.
Eh?
Even when you price in the risk, so money has to come back for you to be profitable. How can you have 100% MPA?
I feel like that 100% NPL was an exaggeration. That is too much loss.
Everybody you give money to did not pay back. What's going
I think
on?
there's too much loss. It just didn't make any sense. But what really tripped me again, like the
Oh God.
on general principle, like at the found base layer, them losing money like this is a fintech learning experience. Everybody will see, everybody has their own phase where they realize lending is not a thing that you scale. You don't bit
You know the
scale
funny
it,
thing?
you
I will
just
take
it.
that for
But my own is that not only did the guy say that in his comment, in his reflection, it was, oh, that it didn't make sense to be chasing people that you gave 10K, 20K loans because the amount of resources you spend in doing that is expensive, blah, 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 blah. And in my mind is like, I don't understand. Do you think the banks were stupid when they were not doing 5K,
you.
10K loans?
See, I've come to the conclusion that people who think that banks and by extension bankers are fools, they are the ones that are actually foolish.
Please, what's the background of the
AK,
founders? That's my own because these
The guy,
seems like to
no,
AK
no,
be.
no.
in
The guy
2018.
he worked in a bank and he said he worked at Flutterwave. I think the other co-founder was a head of product engineering
So
at
how
Flutterwave. So
can
it's not
they
as if
be
these
so
guys didn't have.
silly?
It's
I
not
just
so. See, let me just say this now for everybody who is doing lending. If your model is give customer money for free, willy nilly, barely any checks or requirements, because you are trying to scale it like payments, and then you give out the loans, and then let's see what comes back. If that's your model, you are going to be shit out of luck very, very soon, because that model, it doesn't scale. It promises to scale, but it doesn't scale. I've not seen one successful company, one successful credit business that has been run that way. If we look at the credit landscape, let's even step away from the big banks. When you think of the likes of Page, all these guys that are like quietly cashing out, Page, Rent Money, ZZ Vance, all those guys, if you look at their model, it's not reckless.
They used to
They
stand
know,
outside the
they profile
office.
who they target.
I used to
They
stand
target
there.
bankers, they
Bankers.
target salary.
Page is always DMing me on LinkedIn when I was astounded. They know
Z Vance did not let me rest. I don't know where they got his number. I'll be getting texts from Z Vance. That is customer profiling at its finest.
and you know why they
All
target
these
bankers is because they know
people are
that
doing with AI.
they'll sack you if you if your postdated check
Yeah, if your
bounces.
check bounce, if you're as a banker, if your check should bounce, you are going to get fired, and you'll be lucky if EFCC doesn't even chase you safe
So
because it's a crime for checks to bounce.
my thing is digital lending was not you are not going to instant loans like instant disbursement.
Instant
It's not
disbursement.
supposed to be a thing. And I hate that we have spoiled
Exactly.
it. We have spoiled this business to the point where instant lending is expected, but it was not supposed to be a thing.
Yeah. There is a process to underwriting, and it takes time to come to a decision. You can do responsible digital lending, but it doesn't scale at the pace that fintechs are looking for. I mean, we know people that the first cohort of their lending was fine. The NPL ratios were great because they were very methodical in terms of
It's where you now
who
see
they were giving.
you see the money and you get you get
You get excited and then
excited.
you reduce your standards. You can never reduce your standards. Never.
You have to do it small forever. There's no way.
You can't skip time when it comes to credit. And the simple reason for this is that there's no penalty for bad credit behavior. It's not like the US that bad credit score, your life is over. Here, I saw somebody's tweet that the bank account the artisan was using that I sent to her, that it was somebody else's name. And then she called and the guy was like, hey, that he used this guy's NIN. These guys are going to be in the financial services ecosystem using products, and the identity will not belong to them. There's no penalty for credit violations, and that's why you have to be super careful. Instant loans cannot be a thing.
Yeah,
Enough is enough. I beg you people.
anyway, everybody will learn. When you collect your kin, you learn. I feel like it's a learning process. As
But how many times do they want to learn? Have they not? We've been learning these lessons since 2018.
oh no,
See those ones too that said they wanted to. Okay, that was a different model, Sha.
I
But they
just
never give Furo back money.
you know what's funny is that I know another person that's doing that same model, and I want to tell them this thing won't work. But at the same time, the thing with being a founder is that you have to be a delusional person.
Yeah,
That's
small delulu or strong delulu
that's really what it
is
is.
required.
You have to be delusional to think that everybody else is stupid and it's only you that is smart. Now it's that fine balance of I'm what if I'm the one that is stupid and you know I'm the one that's smart that you have to strike. But and that's why I throw to your questions like and these guys, what is their experience? Blah blah blah. To be fair, you have to think that you are smarter than everybody for this thing. If it works, you have to think you're smarter than everybody. That's the only way.
Well, to be fair, Sha, fintech experience does not always equate. In fact,
Fintech experience
banking experience
fintech
does not
experience
always equate credit experience.
fintech experience and banking experience is a lie that they tell investors. Investors are investors are the ones that are chopping that bubble because How can somebody that was a developer that worked in IT solutions tell you that I have banking experience,
Application support.
application support, tell you I have banking experience, and you yourself you give money as if this founder has pedigree.
Oh God. Yeah, like we need to be clear, and we've said this thing before on the podcast that somebody works in a bank doesn't mean
It's
they
not
are
a
a
banker.
banker in the sense of it. You can spend all your life doing user access management in a bank. You don't know the first thing about underwriting. You can spend all your life doing marketing, like brand and marketing inside a bank. You don't know anything about cost of fund. You don't even know anything about accounting, like simple basic accounting.
This is why
So if somebody tells you that oh, you're a banker, you need to ask, what do you do in the bank?
that's one of my biggest pet peeve with like YC and technical co-founder, because it's usually technical co-founder that usually gets people that don't have sense like this. Oh, he was a banker. He has experience. What experience? Which part of the bank did you work? Anyway, anyway, everybody will learn. It's a learning
Or they
experience.
won't, and
It's a
they keep
learning.
trying.
It's a
They'll
learning
keep
experience
losing
for
money.
all. It's a learning experience for
I
all.
just I feel for the investors that gave money, Sha, because somebody's money has gone never to come
They
back
will
again.
never get that money back. They will never get it.
It's not
And it's not. And
it's not
it's not as if like it's Nigeria is the kind of place where maybe you can sell the debt, you know,
you
and
can't even sell it.
they'll package
One
it.
naira on every 100 naira, nothing for you.
Maybe they'll package it in some way, like big shots. When they'll package your debts, they'll sell it on the stock market, that kind of exotic products. Oh god.
Another thing, by the way, is that when you are doing 5K loans, 10K loans, if those loans go bad, recovery is a hassle because
You just have
the airtime
you just have to chest
that
it.
you use a loan,
You just
exactly,
you
you have
just
to
have to
chest
chest it.
because the airtime you use to call. So I recently shared an audio recording with my team of somebody talking to a loan recovery agent. It's the funniest thing in the world. The guy was just having fun. And then at the end, he mentioned his name and then he said, I am not paying back your money. And I'm like, these are the people that you want to include, you want to give credit. Yes, there is a credit opportunity. No, it is not by giving people money anyhow.
Nah, it's so bad, Laolu. It is so bad. I don't even know why people do it.
5K loans, 10K loans. Don't worry about it. Wait for government intervention on that one.
Because
Let government do and
I
because anchor
remember
borrower has gone safe. They did not pay back.
I remember this somebody, shit, I forget the name. Somebody when we were at Stanbic, and I was like, this was me in my younger days. I was also a delusional person. I was like, why don't we give smaller ticket loans? And the credit guy told me that the same amount of work I'll use to process 1 million loan to Dangote staff, I'll use to process 50K loan. Why should I do that? I was like, when you put it like that, it's fine.
The same effort, 20 times the result. You can do digital lending for small tickets, but your underwriting has to be solid, aka you tie it to like employment. So, oh, I know this person's employer. I've assessed this person's employer. They are a going concern. I've looked at their like salary payment record. They are consistent with salaries. Therefore, I can lend to this group of people that work for this employer.
But
The only thing is that on a monthly basis, I'll ask HR who is on, who has disciplinary issues, who has this, who has that. That's a more controlled way because, yes, I have all these names on my books based on the fact that they have salary accounts with me. And then I can lend to them with a higher degree of confidence and just make it digital led. No human being needs to be sitting down to be checking this and checking that and doing all of that. That's one way to do it. But that I'll just wake up one day, put up an app, run small Google ads, have people sign up, collect bank statements, then give them, I don't know, 10% of their average credit. That's not
But
that's not
this is
it.
what this thing you described. That's what the traditional banks do now. That's how they lend. You bank the employer,
Yeah,
then you control their payroll, then you can now lend to their employees.
yeah. Because
That
that's the safe way. I don't doubt. Maybe I should just clarify now. I don't doubt that there is a model that can be developed that will, to a high degree of confidence and accuracy, enable you to lend willy nilly and get most of your money back. I don't doubt that it can be built. The question is, do you have the pockets to build it? Because it's expensive. And I was talking to some guy from a lender. I'm not going to mention their name. I'll tell you guys after. And we were in a call. We're not in a call. It was a physical meeting. I was still with Stambik. And we're in a meeting room. My ED, like seniors were there. And the guy was telling us, oh, that they have a less than 1% MPL rate ratio. And from experience now, you ask. So I asked, can you define what MPL means in this context? And they're like, oh yeah, for second time for second time borrowers, the MPL ratio is less than 1%. And I'm like, okay, so what about first time borrowers? And it's like, oh, that they use first time borrowers
as test,
as sort of,
as
yeah,
test. Yeah,
a qualifier.
I'm sure this. I mean, this was a startup.
It's well, they are big now, Sha. I don't know if they are
It-
still a going concern, Sha, but
it's startups that like to tell that kind of lie. Just
I'm
be,
like, what do you mean
how,
second time
how
borrowers,
can you
brother? What's your
how can you redefine the meaning of MPL?
because you need to define it because these guys are liars. But I'm like, you know what? I can see because the argument they were making was that they use that data to train their algorithm, like the model that takes a decision on whether they should lend or they should not lend. It uses that data and several data points from the borrower to like enrich itself. If they're not a going concern, then well, I guess it didn't work. But I can see how that type of effort can produce a model that will help you lend aggressively.
Uh, that means you have to raise a lot of money. Again, this is
Yes,
VCs in growing our FDI because you have to raise a lot of money. For you to do that, as you have to raise a lot of money. That's like free money because you are dashing people money to do model. Just look at our
effectively, yeah. You are
customer
asking
acquisition
money to
cost.
train a model.
Is our customer acquisition cost?
Yeah.
If you have just been yani, you haven't noticed I've been fighting for my life with this internet.
We've noticed, we've just decided
We've
to allow
noticed.
you.
Just let
Oh God.
even MTN is better
Furo
than this.
went to an African country that is supposedly better than us.
And
And
here
the
we are.
internet,
Here we
here
are.
we are. Oh God.
I like her.
Every
I
time.
like that she knows she's getting kicked off.
Oh man. Please let's move on. Because this credit thing,
Anyway,
we can be on it for the next 2 hours.
our last topic of the day is one that I guess I can finally speak on now. I'm sure you've all seen that everybody has been asking you for proof of address documents.
And if they're not asking, they're putting out announcements that they now require proof of address.
And, everybody is angry. I don't know if you
I
are
don't
not a
understand.
fraudster, why are
Laolu,
you
stop
angry?
it.
I've been se- I've been seeing
Upload the picture.
wait
Please,
now,
brother,
wait now.
upload the picture of your house and keep it moving.
I've been seeing
Because if
people
you open an account with Stanbic, human being is going to come to your house.
wait now. This I heard people on Twitter. They were like, "This doesn't happen.
Oh,
Why am I? This is my invasion of my privacy. That nobody ever."
Private.
In my mind, is like
You
people
must
are.
be new
You
here.
must be new here. You must be new here. Oh God.
Oh man. But if you were opening an account with GTB, Access, Echo, any of the major banks, it's a core requirement that somebody has to validate your house, whether the relationship manager or an agent that will come and confirm that not only does the house exist, though, the customer is also known to the people in that house.
I think people don't never understood why their accounts were randomly blocked.
Ah,
I remember what's it called one
like,
time I opened an account for my cousin at Stanbic. So my cousin and his dad have like the same first name, last name. Like he's a junior. The verification agent came and said, "I'm looking for X Y." He didn't say the junior. And my uncle came out and said, "Who are you?" And he called Mopo to chase the guy away.
oh God.
The irony now that the guy that I gave the account opening package to open now called me and said, AVR failed. I was like, "What do you mean AVR failed? I just went to this house yesterday. He's there." I know now. I said, "Let's drill down." The agent, we saw the comments, he said that they chased him with police.
As an employee, I failed AVR before because my landlady that they met, apparently she did not know me by Laolu. And she's just an unserious woman. She thought my name was my next door neighbor's name. In fact, Benga has been on the
Can you
podcast. She thought
imagine?
I was Benga.
Uh,
That's why I failed AVR as an employee of the bank. So, brethren, please, when they say take picture of your house or describe your house, nobody is coming to to, to come and beg you for money inside your house. It's just what it is. These guys have become, they can't be fintechs forever. At some point, they have to wear their big boy pants, and that's what is happening now.
they are protecting the sanctity of the ecosystem. And as
And like,
such,
please.
and as such, everybody must comply. You guys don't know
Oh,
how many
but
times I've read
see,
CBN CDD guidelines, customer due diligence guidelines.
customer due diligence
Every
and
time,
enhanced due diligence.
every time I read it, I'll send message to my legal. I say, "Bro, Aveg, can this be interpreted in another way?"
It's funny that you are doing this work again because I seem to remember a period where the three of us were working on something similar,
You know, what's funny?
asking the same legal
You know what's funny?
if it can be
Because
interpreted.
because I'm a hoarder of emails, I still have those emails. And sometimes when I'm arguing with compliance, I'll bring this is what my compliance that year said. I can't believe I'm using the KG to defend nonsense.
Oh God! Oh man!
Yeah, and
Now, customer.
this has been a very stressful period, but again, it's the sanctity of the ecosystem, and it is what it is.
Let me just let people know that if you like, don't upload what they ask you to upload.
No,
It's
what's it
with,
called? Because
it's with
these
you
guys, these guys said that they
when
are
they
coming
lock
to
your
audit.
account.
They said they are coming to audit. They want to audit to ensure that you have done proof of address on all your accounts.
See, see, let
Uh,
me just let you know. If you know you don't want them to lock your account with your money inside, you can move it to the unlicensed fintech.
that unlicensed fintech, I'll tell you for free. They'll wake up one day and they won't have API access. This is a new regime. This is a new
Oh
regime.
God.
One day you just be transferring with your virtual account. The next day you transfer the money no go.
Oh man. God save us in this ecosystem.
Now,
God save us.
before the year is over, they're going to redo virtual account regulations. They'll scatter it.
Good luck to everybody. Oh. Good luck to everybody.
Virtual account, POS is another one they're going to scatter. They'll scatter. In fact, they've already started. They'll scatter POS
They've
regulations.
started with POS. I think the reason why virtual accounts even has like a breather is because none of the biggest names in the ecosystem that are on the radar of the central bank run virtual account architectures. All of you have direct NIP. integration. OPay, PalmPay, Kuda, Money Point.
You know,
Like you guys account.
you know what the funniest thing in this whole thing is every time you see Tayo of Yosu, we just one cryptic sub. You just know that he has come out from meeting. They've yanned him the one he wants. Yeah. Yesterday, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, you just posted demanding physical verification for account is archaic. I said, they've told him to.
This brother archaic. Who will be here? You think it's archaic? Try reference. Account reference for current accounts.
I was like, I'm sure
There's no practice more archaic than that because they don't do anything with that reference. Not for credit,
not for nothing.
not for nothing. It's just a requirement to no end. But will they take it out?
Never.
Maybe if a new regime should enter.
You know what's so good? Like when I saw that tweet from Tayo, I was like, I'm sure this guy went there with concept and he was pitching them GPS location of the phone. And the guys, and they told him no, that they want physical.
And he should get in line because I know bank MDs, more than one, that they've been pushing proof of presence over proof of address. This whole GPS thing. These are MDs of big banks, and they did not listen to them.
I think at some point, wasn't CBN there was a time when CBN said they were working on something with the telcos.
They're not working on anything.
Workers. They'll
They're
put
not working on anything
they'll put
because
it on nibs.
real bank MDs went and yarned the thing that Tayo probably yarned, and they did not listen to them. So how much more you?
Say real bank. Wow.
No, do you remember what's it called? When before Demola was CEO of Stanbic, before he said that he was going to lobby for removal of references for current account that is not useful. This was 2018, 2019. It is 2024.
I'm pretty sure it was Wale.
Because I know Wale
was Wale.
Wale is about removing that thing, and he's not the only one.
He said that he's on the board of
all of them are passionate about getting it out. Nobody is answering them, and these are the guys that sit in bankers committee.
It's 2024, and the CEO of Stanbic cannot get them to remove reference from current account. Who am I? Who am I?
Brother, you see that archaic, you will like it.
Anyway, we must restore sanctity. We must restore sanctity of the thing. That's why I'm not snitching. I mean, the people before me have said they should bring sanctity, and I'm here. So the people that are coming after me, I too bring sanctity to them. I will be reporting.
Look at you.
I will be reporting. If you like, all of you that are trying to launch fintech, I dare you to launch fintech without license. I will email them. I will send them a link to your app. I now know all of them. PSMD and Co. I will send them a link. Whistleblower.
God. Dolako, please, when you are listening to this episode, trying to find snippets to turn into sound bites for social media, please don't put those comments on virtual accounts and reporting people. I take God, beg you.
Let them listen to you so they can know that I'm the one that reported them. It's like that Game of Thrones, guys. Let her know it was me. Anyway, let's wrap it.
I think that brings us to the end of this episode.
It's a good
Furo,
one.
wrap up quickly before your network will go again.
Get us off here. Anyways, till the next episode, thank you for listening to Open Africa Podcast. And yeah, I think that's how we can end it, Abby. Tired.
Goodbye.